First thing I have to say, I'm deeply, deeply impressed by the creativity and sense of Cardiff University Innovation Network, because they have selected two speakers here tonight. One speaker comes from a position of being technologically very advanced and successful, and the other speaker comes from an outfit which is technologically retarded and unbelievably unsuccessful. You're looking at a bloke who 10 years ago bought a company which was moderately successful, and by sheer force of personality and brilliance, turned it into a bankrupt piece of... Okay, I've got to be quick. I'm going to give you a story. It'll be as fast as possible. I'm going to have to fly. What I'll do is give you the background, then I'll tell you about what we've done in China and why, because we were forced into it, kicking and screaming, because Cowardly Lion here didn't want to go, but we had to. And we've done moderately well. So forgive me, we'll fly through this as fast as possible, and we'll see how we get on with it. Right, Techstars. We're talking about Techstars, right? Textile, when you join two pieces of yarn together, you have to make a knot. And if you have a knot in a piece of fabric, it shows. And it's profoundly unpleasant. And also those knots will break up the smooth flow of a yarn through a technical machine, and that may cause inefficiencies by breakages. So somebody wanted to correct that, and they invented a thing called a splicer in the 1970s, which got away with it completely. That's the appearance of a standard yarn with a splice in it instead of a knot. It's relatively smooth, the diameter increases not very much, and that slithers easily through a machine. It was introduced by a Pontypool company called Pentwyn, which was a spin-off actually from ICI Fibers, who had a research development facility there. Okay? And it did indeed transform production efficiency in textile trade. And you all never heard of it, but you're all wearing garments which have got splices in them, because that's kept the industry going. Okay? The history of the business was this. It was introduced in '76. Then the fool who actually ran the business licensed the process to others. And that was a profound mistake, because the others, it was like Marcos licensing motor technology to the Ford company, because their research facilities were so superior that in no time at all they'd overtaken. The original Pentwyn company did very little research, and they were limited eventually to niche markets. So the whole thing was stagnating. Eventually, they sold the company to a mug, otherwise known as me. Okay? Now, with my overweening confidence and hubris, I decided I could do something with this. Okay? And so the mug committed it completely to innovation, because the research had been so bad over a whole 20 years that this was a totally rubbish company, but it was ready to go. Simplifying the product would have made it very successful. Right? And we sought to improve the technology, the manufacturing, and the marketing, all in one fell swoop. And we formed a new IPR company, parallel to Pentwyn. This is pure conceit here, called GTW Development, right? Now, if I tell you my middle name's Thomas, that helps, doesn't it? Okay? And we did some new inventions, and we did some new developments, invented purely within GTW, the IPR company, and we made some progress. Okay? We developed new products. These were simple, good, profitable, lovely little things. And for instance, one of our products was taking 160 minutes to assemble. And its replacement took 20 minutes to assemble. Gives you a clue. They won prizes. I don't know how many people here are old enough to remember the Millennium Product Awards, but we're the only small company in Wales to have won 2 of them, okay? Which is nice. So there's obviously prosperity followed. There's no question about that. We were obviously going to be successful, okay? New products, simple and clever. Improved everything. All we had to do was to flog them. Okay? But something was indeed happening to the British textile market. We're talking about a small company. There's a nice statistic coming up here. Wait for this one, chaps and chapesses. At buyout, the UK business was 220,000. In 3 years, with better products, it had dropped to 80,000. That was the textile market in the UK collapsing about our ears. The people who sold me that company knew what they were selling. So this led us into a certain set of problems, okay? Gamble all the resources that we had, my pension fund, or close it. So what we did, we sold a building, rented instead, used the building money to do research. We got a young man who may be here. Is he here? Put your hand up if you're here, Calvin. We got him in he's an ex-Cardiff graduate. We got him in on a sponsored PhD project, and he and I worked together for 4 years, and we got some progress. We committed totally and finally, because there's no more money, to export, to innovation. We killed all the old products. We looked at new countries for existing products, and this is where we start to get towards China. Okay? We looked at new products for new applications. So we had new countries. Let's look at that first. New countries, existing products. Where could we send them? We have still the world's best splicer for carpet yarns. But for cost reasons, those carpet firms had moved eastwards. They'd gone to the old Eastern Bloc, and they'd gone further to India and China, and we had to chase them. We were skint. We couldn't even afford the money to go to the airport, let alone fly to China. We're getting there, aren't we? Right? We chose one, China, because it was the biggest. So we were going to put an existing product into a new country. Okay? There was another approach. There's a whole new market out there which is difficult to splice. There's the high technology applications such as aerospace and automotive. Okay? We tried to identify applications which were certain to grow. We identified that one. Composites, wind turbine blades, aerospace or automotive. And what we found out, that we couldn't splice them, and neither could our competitors. So we had a second strand to our approach to going abroad, and that is to try and splice, with our new research, these new products. Okay? Which we did. And where are those high technology factories located? The ownership of those companies tends to be in the West, but they often do manufacturing in China. So we now had two things. We had old products which were going to China and new products which could go to China. So it was China. Okay? How to succeed? We needed to move fast. We didn't have any money for setting up a major operation. Which way forward? We took advantage of IBW, International Business Wales offers. Bless them. Anybody ask me questions later, bring IBW up, please, because I have something to say. We visited Hong Kong, then Shanghai and Beijing. We soon learned it was pretty big. Yeah, too right. Production plants aren't in the big cities. We learned that I would have to travel, and we used every form of traffic there is. And I even, forgive me, there's somebody over here who will laugh at this. I have even, I think, rented a car off a lady of the night in my last visit, but that's another story, okay? I think that she was a funny-looking girl. How are we going to go forward, okay? So we did all that, and we began to make progress, okay? What concerns did we have? Most people look outside the big centres. You'll need to look outside, but you'll leave your comfort zone, definitely, because it's not a nice thing to go to a city you've never heard of, literally never heard of sometimes, find your way there and go knock on somebody's door. Quite difficult. Worry about the logistics of travel. I'm talking now to the people who actually want to go. This is now becoming a list of things what to do and what not to do, and the panic that occurs in the heart of a cowardly lion, okay? Worry about the cost of travel and hotels, worry about the cultural exposure, language, food, behavior, gifts, colors, politics, okay? I was once shown a statue of a chairman of Mao. I didn't know what to do, whether to jeer or cheer, okay? What concerns? Intellectual property issues. It's been touched on. We can touch on it again in Q&A if you like.